Welcome to the Transform Sales Podcast, where forward-thinking business leaders come to share their experiences and ideas, learn from each other, and amplify their results together.
How's it going, everybody? We're here with the Instapage team, and we're going to be talking about how marketers can create landing pages, high conversion landing pages for their campaigns in minutes instead of sometimes days or even more. How's it going, everybody? How you doing today?
Yeah, Eddie, going well.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, Valeria. I kind of like the seasonal Christmas tree in the back.
Yeah, Christmas mood.
Awesome. So, team, tell us a little bit more about Instapage and what is the value prop? How is it that people can create high converting landing pages in minutes?
Yeah, so essentially Instapage helps marketers quickly create high converting landing pages on their own. So to achieve this, we equip marketers with a powerful drag and drop landing page builder where they have the option to build pages from scratch, or they can start from custom conversion optimized templates. So we have 100 plus optimized templates that they can just choose and start editing right from there. They can also create their own libraries from blocks to forms, helping them build even faster with reusable elements. And then on top of all this, we offer a complete CRO suite built directly in the platform, which enables marketers to manually run, let's say, A/B tests. They can also capture leads with triggered pop-ups and sticky bars, and they can personalize their landing pages for every ad and audience. So ultimately, marketers, they want to maximize their campaigns, and we let them do that through an all-in-one landing page and CRO platform.
Awesome. Now, are there any particular industries that may particularly benefit from this solution based on what you just explained? It seems like e-commerce platforms could be a good type of clients or users for this type of solution?
Yeah, e-commerce, financial services, education. We see a whole suite of companies across the board. And essentially, if you have a ton of products, ton of audiences, we're a great fit for them because you can personalize each landing page to all your ads for each audience and product.
Awesome. Now, that takes me to my next question, which is, what alternatives were your customers today using before Instapage in order to launch these quick pages or, as you mentioned previously, blog 2 pages, which is something pretty interesting?
Yeah. When marketers come to us, we usually see them in around one to three situations. So the first one being they're relying on developers because their site and landing pages are custom coded. Second one being they're using their marketing automation tool like HubSpot or Salesforce to create their landing pages. And the third one being they're building their landing pages through their website CMS, so such as WordPress or Webflow. And so while these are options, marketers often find themselves having to settle in them and usually come to us to gain more control over their campaigns and conversions.
Perfect. Okay. Now, when it comes to getting this visibility on campaigns, conversions, what other challenges were your customers today running into when they were trying to use, let's say, WordPress or their CMS to launch these pages? How slow is that process compared to what they're doing now with Instapage?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, follow-up question to that. Either, like when I mentioned the developer case, a lot of times developers aren't usually prioritizing their requests. So a landing page, even an update can sometimes takes, weeks to months. And it's just a simple update. And usually you can't afford that because when you think about it, you're spending a ton of money on ads. And if you're not putting the best landing page out there, you're not going to be able to turn your clicks into conversion. And you're ultimately throwing away ad dollars. And so that's the real value, is that we allow them to make those updates in seconds and then to create pages in minutes. So huge value there where you don't have that dependency block of developers. And then when you look at the other platforms, like you mentioned, whether it's a CMS or whether it's a marketing automation tool, usually there's limited capabilities. So usually they don't have that complete CRO suite. So you're missing on the optimization and personalization side. Yes, you can create. And usually even the creation's hard because it's a hard to use builder, whereas ours, it's super seamless, drag and drop, place elements wherever you want. And we recently launched something where you can actually build in grids as well. So you get the best of both worlds in our platform. And yeah, I would say to sum that up, ultimately, you don't have to rely on developers. You're not missing critical capabilities, and the builder is easy to use.
Interesting. Now, I can imagine the situations where you mentioned industries like e-commerce, financial education, where you may want to tailor one product, one offer, let's say it's a credit card, something like that, to many different, let's say, automized ICPs or buyer personas, and trying to create every landing page, copy paste it, maybe a cumbersome solution. So how about we go into a quick demo if somebody can share the screen and walk us through the main features that allow marketers or this, let's say, company leaders that are running a campaign, putting, as you said, some dollars, some money on ad spend, and they just want to convert quickly. How can they launch these pages? What are some of those features that they really love?
Yeah, so all you, Evan, right? We're going into the demo.
Yeah. So I think the easiest way to see this, like beginning by just creating a page. So on your landing pages, you can create a page, big action, makes it easy for you to find. And we're just going to build a standard landing page, but we do have the ability to build AMP pages, and you can always download our pages and re-upload one. So if you've saved it, you've had it for a while, you can always bring it back. In standard, you have use cases. So this is like we were talking about. You have different cases that kind of, you want something built, so you find that case. We have a lot of templates for them. You have maybe some deals that you want, e-courses, events. So let's just look at one of these. You can always preview it and see like how it's a pretty complete page. It has all the pieces you need. And so say you're going to use this layout. I would normally give it a name, but we'll just skip that for now. And we'll come in here. Now that page exists in my library and I can edit it immediately. Or if I want, I could build a bunch of these and then go and edit them later. So we're going to open our builder, and this is what Griffin was talking about, our drag and drop builder. The builder is kind of a few different things. And you think of like building it as telling a story. And so part of the story is these different sections. And these are what we call blocks. So you can see the borders around it. A block is kind of a grouped up set of things that maybe that's what we want. This being a header, it kind of introduces a product. You can put a CTA so you get those early adopters like before they even read. So let's look at the block library. This is kind of how you get blocks. We have a lot of blocks that we've designed. You can come in here. You can see the different types for what you want to do. You can select one of these and insert it automatically. For some of our premium plans, we have global blocks. These are saved blocks that you put on a whole bunch of pages, and then you only have to update it once, and it updates all those pages automatically. So like you were saying, for those quick updates, you could actually update a bunch of pages quickly. I have a header here. I know there's like footers, and that's always a big thing that you change is a new footer change comes out and you have to go across thousands of pages and change them. This lets you do it, no developer. And then lastly, we have my blocks. This is just where you save blocks, and these are essentially copies. So you put them on the page and it just kind of does a new instance at that point. We have two different kinds, canvas blocks. This is where you can drag and drop and put it exactly where you want it. Or we have these fluid grid blocks where you have a grid that helps you kind of lay it out and reposition things on its own. I'll show you that a little bit later, but you can also see other blocks that I've saved, and some are labeled fluid and some are not. So normally you would insert one of these onto the page and then it would put it where you want. So once you have a block, you think about what are blocks made of, and these are our components. These are all the tools on the side here. We have different types of tools. We have content components, so text, images, videos. We have interactive components. If you think like a button, a form, maybe a slider that lets you slide back and forth between different views. And then we have different visual things. So you have shapes, you have lines, and you can see maybe there's a really light shape behind this one. And this is like grouping where you have a shape and an image just to make something quickly. And then lastly, down here, we have custom HTML. We don't build every possible component. So if you have something that you're using, a little third-party tool, you just insert it, it'll put it on here. It won't show up in our builder because we're not rendering that code in here so that this is fast and it's easy to use, but it will be on your preview and then on your live page. So those are kind of the elements that you have. And once you've built a page, you can also switch to mobile. And this will regenerate all those elements that you've put kind of in a line and just kind of give you a mobile view. but you can still move things around here and readjust your spacing and then go back to desktop. And that's it. You've built a whole page. Let me show you a different page that I have built. This one, a little more vibrant, a little different. And you can see these blocks have these numbers here. So these are essentially containers, and this is that fluid grid block. So let me show you back in here where we have these blocks. Under fluid grid, you can see these grids. This is one of those things where you try to play with layout and you say, okay, I want these columns, I want this kind of thing. And once you insert that grid, that's when you have these different containers, and then you can draw up components in them. And these are the same kind of components I had there. You can reorder them quickly, so you could build a page pretty fast. So if you look at some of the things I built with these fluid grids, I have a 3 across, and I have kind of the same pattern going. This is actually a regular block, so you can blend them and have some fluid, some canvas, where maybe I wanted this one exactly placed where it is, and it wasn't working in the grid. This is a grid, so you can replicate this across pages pretty easily. And then everybody loves their logos. So I have like 3 columns, but then I have 2 in each one. So when we go to something like mobile, we actually still see them kind of lined up next to each other. And I mean, building a page like this, it goes pretty quickly. And then you just kind of refine things and get the style exactly how you want it. But if you don't have, say, any like graphics people who can work on your site, you can use the templates, you can use these quick pieces and kind of use the block library and lay out a page without a lot of work. Or maybe you just want a place to start. So you start with your template and then you change everything you want. You can always change anything that we have. We don't have you locked into any design.
Amazing. I was looking at a section that you were showing up earlier on the blogs, and it seems like even the blogs could be something that you divide amongst your team in terms of the content that each one's going to create. I saw a section could be the benefits, another one could be testimonials, and those are like the reels that scroll horizontally on these landing pages and allow people to get like that affirmation about, again, these one pagers driving them to a call to action that should be easy and quick to build.
Exactly. In that kind of thing, I know I'm showing the ones we built, but you could have your team essentially go, okay, we need someone to build like our download set. We need someone to build our contact so that we're always using the same contact form. And yeah, you can build these and then save them to your blocks and then just insert them into every page you're building. If you have that premium plan and those global blocks, you could build it once and then put it on all your pages. If it ever needed to be updated, they could work on just that block and it would update all those pages immediately.
And I think that the huge headache removal, because sometimes even just, I don't know, just having your pricing in terms or your privacy policy, always, again, as you said, the footer or a type of disclaimer, make sure that that's, if you update something with legal and then dissipate that through the multiple pages you have, that could be a headache. But this is a nice way to easily deploy that.
Exactly. I was a front-end developer at a company that had 13 blogs, and whenever our footer had to change every year just because we changed that copyright year, simple, right? I had to change it on those 13 and then like 6 other spots, and you're just looking for them, and then people will find a page that you forgot about and you have to go update that. With this, you can make changes in one spot and pull them across everything.
Incredible. Are there any other, let's say, differences that you would say for someone in the audience that may be right now on HubSpot CMS or WordPress or those type of builders that you would say, hey, this is something that you should take a look at? Any other feature that you would like to highlight, Evan?
I would say one of the big things you've noticed, like all these libraries I look at, I was looking at the block library. We also have a form library where we have a few samples. You can save your own forms and it'll just bring you into an editor where you could build these and you can always save them back to your library to reuse. Our big thing that really is kind of the driver is like reuse, right? So anywhere you're at, you can build something, save it. Let me go back into that page. I'll show you one
I like
more.
the forms. That the forms could be used like lead capture forms, right, or
Oh, yeah.
qualification forms.
Yeah, if you think about it, like the big goal of these pages is to elicit conversions. And that conversion could be a form submission. It could be like a link navigation. So say you have an ad, you hit the landing page so that you have a continuity kind of thing off of that ad, but then we bring you to your website. So navigation is the conversion. Maybe once you get to your site, you want them to do something, and then they get to a thank you page, and we consider that the conversion. We have the ability to add a script to your site so that we can get those conversions. But with something like forms, I'm going to show you, I actually have a form on a pop-up here. And we have a library for pop-ups. So reuse is a big thing. Reuse makes it faster for you to build pages, faster to make changes, faster to like just build something new off of the piece you've already created. You shouldn't have to do the same work over and over. But here's my form. Like you were saying, building a form is all about capturing leads. So I have a few fields here. Maybe I want to add more. We have these predefined fields, and these are kind of things that you use across the industry, companies, industry, of course, names and any sort of information. And with these, you also can have really complex things like a drop down with tons of countries. There's a lot here. So maybe we want to cut this list. You can actually go in here, edit this list really fast. And I'll delete those and apply it, and all those disappear. Maybe I want it to be 2. I could do that. But you can always make these little tweaks to your form. You'll update it, and it's going to ruin my pop-up, but it's going to show up on there. Once you go back to the pop-up, you'll see it added that other field. And I go, okay, let me just resize this out, move my button, make this a little bigger, like float my logo down, and I've already readjusted it. Like maybe I want to keep playing with that because I'm a perfectionist, but I made that pretty fast and added that change. And these are the kind of things that reuse really helps you. But like we talk about, conversion is the big deal. So we always want to focus on that. So we added this sticky bar, and you can make like your first block, which, you know, your blocks here, that one's global, or you can make your last block. I set the first one on desktop, the last on mobile. Let me show you those pages. Like that actually keeps it there. So as you scroll, that offer is always available. And then on mobile, I have it on the bottom. So that's also available, and it's closer to your thumb if you're holding a phone like a normal person, right? So you can get a quick action. As soon as they've read the thing, they go, yep, I want that demo. And that pops up a form, and they're coming in, and you now have that lead.
Fantastic. Now, one question that just came up is if in B2B, sometimes depending on the ticket of the transaction, rather than the quick buy, or in this case, request a demo, a lot of people like to see or display a calendar. Are there any integrations or APIs that you want to mention for the people in the audience?
So we've looked at a lot of calendar ones, and I think we're still trying to find the right one to work with. But if you're using something like Calendly or any of those normal calendar ones, you can use the HTML embed and put whatever yours is. So we haven't locked you to anything, and whatever you're using, use that HTML embed, get it in there, and that way you have your calendar set up on your page. Plus you can put the design around it to look as you want it to.
Incredible. Now let's go to the next question, which is around the task, deliverables, and people involved in setting up, in this case, Instapage. How long does it typically take to reach full productivity and be up and running, deploying pages?
I'll take that one. Hi, everyone. My name is Mia, and I'm a customer success manager here at Instapage. So to tackle your question, Eddie, it all begins with the onboarding process, where the account executive transitions the client to our customer success team. We kick things off with an account setup call to introduce the client to the key teams they'll be working with, like customer experience, of course, support, and professional services if they have development hours. During the call, we review the subscription features, usage limits, and most importantly, we confirm their goals, integrations, tracking methods, and segmentation needs. And this really helps us create kind of like a tailored success journey based on their use case, of course. If the development hours are included, a CRO specialist joins to outline the professional services team's role and propose relevant projects. In the later part of the call, I also dive into the platform and guide the clients through the platform basics, such as adding team members, connecting domains, setting up integrations so they can get up and running quickly. And next, we schedule a platform training. So this includes foundational skills for setting up default settings, building, testing, scheduling, publishing, landing pages, and other fundamentals. I would say that the onboarding takes more or less 1 month to go live, depending on how quickly the client sets up the integrations. And during this time, our professional services team can even assist by building their first page or import an existing one. Once the onboarding is complete, we shift focus to optimization. So after they go live with the first page or pages, we continue by scheduling the converting features trainings, such as AI experiments or normal A/B tests, personalization, ad map. We often also schedule recurring calls, whether biweekly or monthly, based on the client preference, to keep them updated on new features, launch A/B tests during the calls, even share best practices and troubleshoot in general. And the key deliverables include page reviews with design suggestions, heat maps analysis, comprehensive CRO recommendations among multiple CRO services that we offer. For clients with development hours, our professional services team also handles advanced requests like custom templates, coding enhancements, or complex integrations. And in addition to regular check-ins, we also host QBR calls where we review KPIs, submit feature requests on their behalf so that everyone can look into those and just reflect on the journey so far to ensure alignment with their evolving goals. And last but not least, I would say that to ensure a seamless onboarding, clients should involve their marketing, design, and technical teams early to have clear goals and to prioritize integrating their system. I would say that with the right setup, if they're efficient in terms of integrating, they'll be set for success from week 1.
Awesome, Mia. That sounds incredible. So you're estimating a month to be up and running. I can see that there's a training plan that seems like it takes more than a month, right? Like one thing is being set up and having your first page, and then the continuous training in optimizing it for conversion. I like that you offer also the multiple chief revenue officer, let's say services, fractional services. I can imagine the type of advice, or why don't you walk us through high level? Are there any type of sessions, let's say items that are touched on those type of sessions?
Yes. So for example, if a client requests to submit a page review, our design team will take a look at the landing page and they will share some advices around spacing, colors of the call to actions, information hierarchy, visual hierarchy, maybe implementing Z patterns for easier eye scanning, and just like general design recommendations. And then on the other side, we also have our CRO specialist who can take a look at the heat map data. So for those unaware, heat maps is basically a tool that we have which allows you to observe how the visitor interacts with the landing page from 3 perspectives: scroll depth, mouse movement, and click count. So our CRO specialist kind of like takes a look at how the visitors are interacting so far. And based on that, she shares a comprehensive document with her suggestions for improvement, or maybe copy-related suggestions, CRO-related suggestions. It's quite comprehensive, and it's a huge added bonus that all our clients really love.
I like it kind of brings it full cycle in terms of First of all, Instapage provides the options and the tools to quickly deploy the pages. So you don't have, let's say, you're not held back by the bureaucracy or the hurdles of your company and aligning the teams to deploy a page. You can quickly just launch that. But then are you really launching a good page that converts? Even though you may had a good idea, maybe the execution, it didn't really translate as well. Well, guess what? You have access to a team that's gonna, let's say, consult with you, provide some industry, I don't know, benchmarks, and then enable you pretty much to be able to continue to keep deploying pages, but with more intention, with a higher, let's say, conviction or at least understanding of best practices when it comes to what could I do to really, hey, my target audience is this, and this is the product that I want to push. And there may be multiple nuances and strategies depending on the ticket, the, again, target audience, etc. Why don't we go to the last question and then talk about the KPIs that your ideal customer, in this case, you mentioned marketers, we mentioned a couple of industries, should use to evaluate the success of Instapage and what type of outcomes they can expect? Who can take this one?
I'll continue. Thank you. So, yeah, great question. For our ideal customer, the key KPIs to evaluate success would be conversion rate of the landing page and lead generation metrics, as these are the most accurate indicators of a landing page's performance. While we support external tracking, I would emphasize that it's important to note this system only counts conversion when a visitor completes the marketing funnel. So this can sometimes obscure the true impact of the landing page itself, as issues on the website or maybe on the payment page may skew the results. So that's why we strongly recommend focusing on conversion rate and lead generation directly tied to the landing page. Additionally, as I briefly mentioned before, our heat map features provides valuable supporting metrics like scroll depth and click count, which offer deeper insights into visitor and behavior and engagement with your content. For example, actually, to speak on this one, with scroll depth, a cool tip that our CRO specialists might sometimes offer is if the visitor is reaching only, let's say, like 80% of visitors are reaching just the hero section, but you have a lot of important blocks below the hero section, then she might give you some advices around changing the information hierarchy. So kind of like which information you're displaying first to make sure that the most important one gets seen. So it's KPIs like this that, enable us to educate our customers and kind of like help them improve their conversion rate and of course acquire more business. And to give an example, I have a client that initially relied on their website as a direct traffic source, which resulted in a stickiness rate of about 22%. But by incorporating our landing pages as an intermediary step, they increased stickiness by 2.3%, and boosted overall engagement by 90%. And this is all documented on a case study on our website. So I feel like this client is a perfect example of the importance of implementing landing pages if you want to acquire new business, especially because in the digital marketing space, some viewers might be aware, some not. For those who are not, there's a concept called customer awareness that speaks directly to this. So visitors can fall into several stages, right? They can be unaware, meaning that they don't even know they have a problem. Problem aware, when they know they have a problem but not a solution. Solution aware, when they're evaluating solutions. And product or most aware, where they bought from you and they already trust you. So the approach must be tailored to these stages. For the most aware visitors, a simple email newsletter might suffice to drive conversions because they already trust you. However, since every business wants to acquire new customers, for those visitors that are in the unaware to the solution aware stage, I would say it's crucial to create a software landing. So to educate them about about the solution or the problem or how your offering adds unique value compared to the competitors. So yeah, this is the stage where you can leverage storytelling to appeal to their emotions and guide them through the funnel. And I feel like the client example I shared before highlights that quite well.
Oh yeah, I mean, yep. It does sound. Sorry to cut you. It does sound interesting in terms of quickly deploying these pages. I can definitely see a company that's investing in ads, investing in different campaigns, not have to be tied or bundled or let's say strained by what they already have in their website, which tends to be a one size fits all for most. In the case of let's say SaaS companies, sometimes they don't have the time to really revamp every custom page, but now they have a solution where they can atomize and pretty much create a landing page per campaign, and that way maximize the conversion, be able to track everything, and hopefully see the green numbers come up. Team, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. If anyone in the audience would love to learn more about Instapage, see how it will, let's say, integrates with, I don't know, your payment processors, let's say Stripe, any other tool, any other thing about building quickly your landing pages for your campaigns, feel free to browse the CloudTools Marketplace and you'll be able to find the Instapage team over there. Team, it's been a pleasure to have you again on the show. Everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and hope to have you in a future session.
Only for
Happy holiday.
So much. Happy holiday.